Hi, this is Kathie from Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm going to create a quick little project tonight using our new white board and base. Let me get this out of the packaging. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line, let me know where you're watching from. Has spring sprung where you're at? Keeps teasing us around here. 60s and then today 40s and lower 50s. Kind of rainy, dreary, yuck, yuck, yuck. You know? I'm waiting for real spring. I'm going to take a moment here and share this with my VIP group. If you would like to be privy to specials and bundles, let me know and I will send you the link to my VIP group. No obligation, of course. Everyone's welcome other than designers, as company policy prohibits designers from being in another designer's VIP group. Anyway, let's get started. I've got some blackberry iced tea, which I think is actually delicious. I was looking kind of like for some diet tea and found this at Mariano's. I think it's by Turkey Hill or something like that, but it's great. I'm a blackberry fan anyway. Love blackberry jam, blackberry jelly, blackberry anything really. When we, boy, was that a flashback. I just realized I thought of something years ago. When my cousin and I, when our wisdom teeth were coming through, you know, it was annoying, and mine actually never, just two of them did, but the swelling and the pain from, you know, the gums being inflamed, my mom would give us blackberry brandy to just hold over the area and numb it so we quit complaining. Maybe that's why I like blackberry so much. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, what a thought. So tonight's project is going to be using the board and base and working with the transfer hues resin. And the board and base can be used horizontally or vertically. There's a little slit in here for the board to fit in. And I'm, of course, going to do this vertically. And I've got a couple different ideas with it. I'm thinking of doing some watercoloring, but I'm going to do it initially with my copper shimmer, and then I'll decide whether I want to watercolor it or not. I don't want it to be, I want it to be a little subtle. I'm just not sure what the copper is going to look like. So to get started, I'm going to use my fuzzing cloth, and I'm using a transfer that's somewhat like a stencil, but not quite. Our transfers are made out of vinyl, which is a teal, and silkscreen, and you're seeing through the silkscreen to the carrier or back or sheet. And I did spill my water that I have my brushes in case I do watercolor. I spilled it all over my mat a little while ago and got my transfer a little wet. Our transfers are adhesive back and they're reusable. And this is the carrier sheet. You can see that it's shiny. The shiny side goes against the adhesive side. The other side is dull. And I like to write on the back of the carrier sheet the name of the transfer. Is number one, it tells me what transfer that backer goes onto, but it also makes sure that I don't inadvertently put the dull side against the sticky side of my transfer. Boy, my handwriting's messy today. Okay, so I'm just going to peel this off of its backing sheet and putting on my fuzzing towel. And if you don't have a fuzzing cloth or a fuzzing towel, you can use a towel, you could use a sweater, you could use basically anything that is going to apply a little bit of lint to the back of the transfer so that it's not quite as sticky as it would normally be. And our transfers are reusable 8 to 12 times or more. And as you use your transfer from washing it and cleaning it and using it, etc., the adhesiveness will diminish a bit. So you won't need to fuzz it quite as much. And you fuzz based upon the surface that you're going to put your transfer on. Now I'm putting it on our board and base, which is a chalkboard. Got a little air bubble there. I don't want to get any air bubbles. So I'm going to lift that up and smooth it out. And then feel with my fingers. You may want to make sure you don't have any air bubbles under your silk screen. Otherwise the paste does not go through it evenly. And I'm going to use chalk paste and squeegee to apply it to the transfer. It'll push through the silk screen. You don't have to apply any pressure or anything really. Just smooth it over and then lift your transfer. And it's really as simple as that. If you can butter toast, you can chalk. So I'm going to take my larger squeegee. This is actually called the small, and these are our mini squeegees. And I'm just going to apply the paste and smooth downward, covering up the silk screen and pushing the paste through the transfer. A little bit of paste really does go a long way. I really didn't put too much on my little squeegee. Oops. Just trying to get it all scraped off here. You want to make it nice and smooth. Remove any lines. Make sure you hit every area. Anything white showing you haven't gone through the silk screen. And then remove any excess. And put the excess back into your chalk paste container. No sense wasting it. How simple and quick is that? Now this is our shimmer paste. It has a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine to it, kind of like glitter but without the mess. And it takes a little bit longer to dry than our regular paste. Now I'm going to lift this up. You always want to lift from the top, the bottom, the left, or the right. You never want to pull or tug at the corners. And the reason that we fuzz it as much as we do, it depends on the surface. On chalkboard, I generally fuzz maybe 3 or 4 times. But if I was doing this on glass or metal or mirror, I would probably fuzz 8 to 12 times or more. I would really want it to be very not as sticky, because any non-porous surface the transfer sticks to much more strongly. Okay. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and in the meantime I'm going to clean my transfer. Normally I would bring this over to the sink and run it under water, but I don't have a camera over by the sink, so I'm just wetting the front and the back, and then I'm going to use my little board eraser. I'm going to wet that a bit to clean it off. It's really all you need to do is get the chalk paste off of your surface, off of the transfer. Make sure it's not in the silk screen. I use the board eraser on the front of the transfer. I don't use it on the adhesive side. The board eraser also helps if you're using more pigmented paste that might stain your transfer. The board eraser helps eliminate some of that staining. But the staining in no way actually impacts your transfer. It's just as usable as if stained or not stained. It's just not as pretty looking, but it works. Its functionality is not impacted whatsoever. How does that sound? Oops. I'm just cleaning off any residual paste. I'm going to flip this over, clean up the adhesive side. And then after I go and get all the paste off the adhesive side, make sure I get all the paste out of here, Then I like going over my transfer again with a little, this is just a Clorox wipe, a disinfecting wipe, and going across it and basically removing all the fuzz. It'll kind of lift up on my disinfecting wipe. Did I say adhesive wipe? Disinfecting wipe, Clorox wipe. And then this renews the adhesiveness. So I'm going to put this aside on a flat surface to dry, sticky side up. Put that on the side. Hi Terry, how you doing? I don't think you can see any of the sparkle yet, but as it'll dry, it'll become a little bit more sparkly. So the idea, what I was thinking of doing is watercoloring the flowers, the lilies, and the leaves, and I think I am going to do that. I think this is very pretty on its own, though. I mean, I think it could stand on its own if you didn't want to do something like that. But I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I'm going to mix up a little bit of green paste with some yellow paste because I want different colors green. I don't want one flat green. This is my meadow. So I'm going to take a little scoop of meadow here. I really don't need too much actually. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my sunshine. Sunny side, not sunshine, sunny side yellow. And put a little dab in there. And mix them up. Ooh, I put a little bit too much yellow, but that's fine. Our chalk paste is made from chalk, so it's a good idea to keep the cover on when you're not using it. You don't want it to dry out. Then I was actually thinking the Sunset Drive is such a pretty color. I was thinking possibly using this or maybe the Peachy Keen, but definitely using my berry. Isn't this a beautiful purple? So I'm going to set this still aside to dry. I have my brushes sitting here in water, and that's what I tipped over and wet my mat when I started. Whoops. Let's move it over there where it's not near the laptop. Oh, I'm a little clumsy. Let me mix a little bit more of this in here and see what we're looking at. I just want a little bit of mix of color, and you could use our paste to paint with or watercolor with. And when you do that, it's a good idea to add just a little spritz of water to it. Now, there's not much here for me to do. So I'm going to add a tiny, tiny little bit of water and mix that up. You want to make it a little bit looser consistency than the paste normally is. So you could kind of paint with it. And let me grab one of my brushes in here. And let's see, I'm going to need something pretty small for the leaves, I think. And just mix this up. Yeah, it might have gotten a little bit too much water. Let me drain some of the water away from it. And see how that goes. Okay. I don't think this is quite dry. Let me dry off my surface and I think we can get started. Now I realize this is a little late for Easter. However, this transfer happens to be in our last chance category on the website. Actually, I should probably put the link to it here for you. And it is discounted. So if you want to grab it for next year, now's the time to get it. And, oops, I'm going to see if I could comment. It doesn't seem like it's working. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see. You know what? Excuse me for one moment. I've got to go check on Mom. She was taking a nap and she seems like she's up and I don't want her getting upset, so I will be right back. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What? No swearing. Okay. No. No swearing. Okay. Okay. Can I help you? No. You want to just sit here? With you. Okay. Stay in here though, okay? Thank you, sweetie. Okay. Are you going to get back into bed? You want to just sit there? It's fine. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've got a little bit of the diluted chalk paste on my brush. And I'm going to just go into my leaves and drop a little paste. I want it to really look like watercolor. And I'm going to try and keep it between the lines. But if I do go over the lines, all I really need to do is put the transfer back over and use the copper again, which is why I cleaned it so that I could reuse it when I'm done. And you could let this dry and put multiple layers to kind of get the colors that you're looking for. It really depends on what you're going for. And I think I'm going to be a little quick with this and not worry about going over the copper outline because I could redo that when I'm done. I'm going to grab a little smidge of this green over here that I did not mix with the yellow, and just, oh, you know what, I don't even need to do that. I could just grab a little water here with my brush and use just the plain meadow. So I've got a slightly different color for some of the other leaves. You do want to make sure that obviously your outline has dried before you do this, because you can see I'm resting my hand on the transfer and I don't want to, if it hadn't dried, I would smear the paste. Now our paste does go on liquid, but will dry to a hard finish. And if you make a mistake, no big deal. This is chalk, a chalkboard, so it's easy just to basically erase it and do it again. Or just erase where you made the mistake. No one's going to notice if a leaf is missing here. Okay, I'm going to grab some of my lighter green. Actually, they're awful close in color, even though I did lighten it up with the yellow a little bit. I don't think that really is too noticeable. Just be careful that it's not too wet and it doesn't bleed over into an area you don't want it to. Obviously a pointy tip brush is best. Okay, I think I've got all the leaves there. like I said, if it's not the color you want, or you want a little bit more depth, just let it dry and then go back and give it another layer of color. And like I said, I'm being a little quick here and going kind of over my lines because I'm going to lay the transfer down once it's dry and go right back over it. It won't be any issue. Excuse me one moment, I just did a little blur there. Let me go check on Mom again. Sounds like she's not very happy. What's wrong, honey? Here. About 15 more minutes, sweetheart. What? Give me about 15 minutes. 15 minutes, are you feeling okay? Are you okay? Why are you scared? Nothing that you're scared about, okay? What are you scared of? What are you afraid of? Okay, take your time, you're okay. You're okay. It's okay. Not a cut, I think. Okay, move yourself up. There you go. See? Better? Is that better? Yeah. Okay, there you go. Much better. I'm sorry, I do apologize. I just never know. She's been very tired lately, and this battling the anemia has just been, it has been a battle, and I kind of haven't heard back from her lab results. I was waiting for a call back this afternoon, and I suspect with her fussiness with eating again and how tired she is, that she's probably due for another iron transfusion. Which, whatever. And then she has so much energy, I can't keep up with her. Okay, do I have all my leaves here? I think so. Just want to fill that out a little bit more. Give it a little darker in the center. And catch this one along the edge. My brush is getting kind of strange on me here. Okay, so I wasn't quite sure what color to go for the lilies, but I definitely wanted to use the berry, even though I don't think lilies are generally that color. But let's see what we could do with that. So just like I used the green, I'm not going to alter this color, but I am going to water it down. So I'm going to take a little scoop of my berry. Oh, isn't that just absolutely beautiful? And then a little spritz of water. And mix that up a little bit. Ooh, might be a little too watery here. We'll see. The water evaporates fairly quickly and it thickens up, so... And I didn't want a real deep color anyway, so I think that'll be fine. I'm going to try and make it a little bit darker near the edges of the petals and then lighten it up. It's a little bit too dark for my taste. But I think it'll be fine. This one's a little bit better. You just get a feel for what you like and how you want it to look. Because it's your project, you can make it look however you like. Kind of the fun, isn't it? Now you might have noticed that I missed here a little bit with the outline, and I realized it, but I'm not going to go back and when I overlay it, it'll take care of it. I didn't want to go back and lay it down. I didn't see the sense in doing it again and when I lifted it. But when you lift your transfer, take a little look and make sure that you didn't miss anything before you fully pull it up. It's much easier to correct it while you're still attached. I don't know, do you think I should go all one color, or should I add the Sunset Drive? Make maybe the lily in the center, the Sunset Drive. Hi, Kat. I think I'm going to go with that. Just thinking here. Well, I've got the berry paste. I figured I might as well do this one other flower and then clean up my brush. Like I said, a little really goes a long way. Didn't really need much pasted off for that. And I'm going to use the same tray. I think I could get by with it. I just need a little dab of this. I just keep it in the corner there, and I'll use my brush to really mix in the water. And I'm just drying my brush on a paper towel that I have sitting on my lap. The water, the little puddle here is probably a little bit too thin, so I'm just pulling it up to the side and mixing in a little bit of water. I really love this Sunset Drive. It's just such a pretty warm color. I need to be careful that I don't rust my hand on any area that is still wet. And look at, I probably don't even need to pick up any more paint from the tray. I could just kind of smear this around till I get the right effect that I'm looking for here. I want this a little bit deeper. Okay. I think I mentioned in the last video that I did some watercoloring that it really reminds me of adult coloring books. It has that, it's that same relaxing vibe, and I really enjoy it so much more than the adult coloring books because this is not on paper and I can actually put it up somewhere and display it. I'm just going to move these out of the way. I think I'm done with them. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Kat. Yeah, I kind of thought they were. I'm not real happy with my green, though. It just seemed a little flat. And let me grab one of my little tools over here. I went out of the lines a bit here. And I'm just going to take this little, it's like a little silicone edge to it. Actually, that's dried. That's not working. This is our detail tool. And I've lost the cap. Whoops. It has a pointy end and a cap that covers it. And then a very small, you could think of it as like an end, like a squeegee that you can use to get into tight places. And this is great for lifting transfers if you can't get your finger underneath it to lift it to pull it up. And the pointy tool, or the pointy tool is really good for going in where you've got dried paste, where you don't want it, and removing it. Okay, kind of just blow that off. I'm wondering if I want to go back in here a little bit. I've got a couple little areas that I missed with the green. Grab a tiny little, do you have a green here, and come back in here. Give it a second little layer. I don't know what happened to the end of this brush, but it's gotten kind of weird. Really kind of weird. Let me look for another brush. Today we launched our mini catalog called Celebrations. And I put a little link, I created a little YouTube video and put a little link to it on the page. So if you want to take a look at some of the items that are coming up, or actually they're available today. They're pretty interesting. If anybody's into lemons, it's like, oh my goodness. We have this amazing, I'm trying to think, how do I do this without letting the cat out of the bag, right? Oops. Am I stalled? My video is not moving. It actually has me holding the detail tool yet. I'm still here. Can someone comment and let me know if I'm still live? Let me refresh my screen and see what's going on. Facebook does it every now and then. Okay, to me it actually it says that I'm live, but I've got that little round circle with the little button that you could push and watch the video in it. So as long as I'm live for you guys, I'm not live on my end, but I do see your comments, so that's great. I'm just fanning this a little bit to dry it real quick. And yes, I know, why did I buy my drying tool when I never use it in my lives, right? Okay, so that's cool. Anyway, so there's some very interesting things included in it. I mean, they're adorable. There is a lemon tray that looks like a lemon wedge with little handles. There's some lemon transfers, and I placed my order today, and I already know that one of them I'm just going to take and etch glasses, like iced tea kind of glasses with the lemon, the little lemon designs and the leaves and things. I think that'll be sharp. And it's a whole bunch of things. They're cute. It's a very small catalog with very limited offerings, but we're kind of changing the whole process of how we're doing things. Instead of having the two main catalogs, which we would basically have spring, summer, fall, winter, we're having smaller caddies, but more frequently through the year. So I think we'll have 6 or 7 this year. So this way nothing gets boring and people don't get tired of things. So this is almost dry. Right in the middle of this larger lily is where I'm waiting for it to dry, and then I'm going to lay the transfer back down and reapply the copper shimmer so that I have a nice definitive outline. If that makes any sense. Okay, my screen's still not showing anything, so I'm stopped on my end, but that's okay. Maybe it's my internet. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Laptop's been shutting off the Wi-Fi connection all the time lately for me, so maybe, who knows? Technology, right? Okay, let me get my transfer. Make sure that it's dried. Fuzz it and lay it back down here. Now there is a way of drying your transfers a little bit quicker, and you could lay them sticky side up on your microfiber side of your fuzzing towel and fold it over, squeeze out the moisture, and it's almost dry enough to use when you do that. And I realized that, ooh, this is sticking a lot. The outside of my transfer was a little damp, so I just wanted to make sure that was dry. Okay. Now, the trick here, oops, this still hasn't dried. I'm going to blow on it. Almost there. The trick is lining it up over what you've already chalked. So I want to make sure that I get the outlines and everything in the right place, and then just lay the layer back down. I don't know if I should do the words again. I might, just to give them a little bit of more definition. When you lay a second layer of chalk over an existing one, you actually get it to bump up or get a little texture. It's a little bit thicker. But it kind of gives it a nice look. Okay, I saw what you said, Terry. I get it. Yeah, I don't know quite where the end. I'm hoping it's just on. Well, I actually would prefer it not to be on my end, but at least then it wouldn't be for everyone. Okay. So I want to lay this over. I'm not going to set it down. Here, I need to do it a little bit closer to me, I think. I want to make sure I have the words lined up, but also the flowers. And I notice my flowers are a little bit off down here. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. Again, make sure that there's no air bubbles. And see, you could see right here when I missed initially, that I missed that little area, that it's white, you could see through it. I've got this lined up very nicely, so I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to grab my copper shimmer again. And I'm going to use the same squeegee. Oops, I probably grabbed a little bit too much over there. But the same thing, basically go over. And another technique that you can use is actually you can go over with a different color and create a shadow if you want, which is really kind of interesting. For this, that's not what I was looking for. I just want to create the outlines again over my flowers and my leaves. And I want to be fairly quick about it. Anytime you're chalking over something, if you aren't fairly quick, the chalk that you're putting over it makes the chalk underneath it soluble or loose again. It wets it, and I don't want to accidentally lift any of this up. So I'm just cleaning it up, make sure I have no lines, and then I'm going to lift up my transfer. And notice when I centered this, I put it up from the bottom to allow for that area in my stand. Okay, let me put this back in the jar, cover it up, and give you a peek at what this looks like. I think that second application of the outline takes care of anywhere I went over the lines, and it just makes it pop a little bit more. Pretty simple, right? So if you're interested in this, check out the Last Chance. Like I said, it's discounted a little bit. It's an A-size transfer, so they're really not that expensive as they are. And this white board and base, I think, is so much fun and so much lighter feeling than the black one. Thank you so much for watching tonight. I surely do appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you soon.